Hello, good morning, and welcome aboard to AM News. My name is Denise Apomaije. In our very first story, government has announced an ambitious plan to build up to 15 months of import cover under the Ghana Accelerated National Reserve Accumulation Policy. Presenting the framework to Parliament, the Finance Minister said the policy is designed to strengthen macroeconomic stability, protect the city against external shocks, and also reduce the country's dependence on borrowing to support foreign reserves. The minister explained that the strategy will combine disciplined fiscal management, enhance foreign exchange inflows, and targeted reserve buffers to safeguard Ghana's economy against global volatility. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante reports.
One of the seasonal challenges with Ghana's economy is the manager's refusal or inability to build buffers during these sunny days for when the rains do come. This government says they want to chart a new path, and that is why they are seeking to get up to 15 months of import cover by 2028. The Finance Minister, Dr. Kasila Toforsen, has announced and put before Parliament this groundbreaking policy and is seeking the support of the House.
The current gross international reserves level is above the traditional reserve benchmark of 3 months of import cover. This is, however, not sufficient to provide adequate self-insurance against disruptive economic shocks and its impact on the exchange rate, like the historical depreciation of the currency in the year 2022 and 2023. To strengthen Ghana's resilience to economic shocks, Cabinet has approved the Ghana Accelerated National Reserve Accumulation Policy. The policy represents Ghana's strategic plan to strengthen external resilience by increasing the nation's international reserve equivalent of 15 months of import cover by end 2028.
The Finance Minister says both Gold Board and the Lands Ministry are supposed to purchase 3.02 ounces of gold every week. Here is how.
Ghana's strategy for the acquisition of 3 tons of gold per week is in two folds. The first is the Ghana Gold Board to acquire up to 2.4 tons of gold per week from artisanal small-scale mining sector. The Speaker, the Ministry of Finance will be making budgetary allocation to the Ghana Gold Board to achieve the objectives. The second, Mr. Speaker, the Ministry for Land and Natural Resources is to invoke the preemption right under Section 3D of the Ghana Gold Board Act 2025 Act 1140 and Section 7 of the Minerals and Mining Act 703 to purchase a minimum of 0.5 tons of gold per week from large-scale gold mines.
The Finance Ministry say they are very much clear with the risks that comes with this policy, and they have enacted certain safeguards to deal with these risks associated with this reserve accumulation policy.
Speaker, governance risk will be mitigated through independent audits and enhanced transparency. Environmental and social risk will be addressed through intensified enforcement of anti-illegal mining laws, targeted reclamation, alternative livelihood programs, and community engagement programs. Right Honourable Speaker, this structured approach aims to transform mining from a volatile revenue source into a stable, transparent, socially and environmentally responsible pillar for macroeconomic stability.
Even before Parliament will get into this policy and debate it, the members on both sides are actually speaking to this. The minority say this is not the first time such a reserve accumulation policy is being implemented.
We stress that the policy to accumulate gold to shore up our currency and provide other benefits to the economy is not the first time we are having such a policy. In fact,
the sin of selective amnesia, Mr. Speaker, that sin is so fatal that if you choose to give history of Eurobond issuance for a particular 8 years, losing sight of years before, it is the first sin that is going to spell the doom of this policy.
Well, the majority side say this is really forward-looking and shows a government that is willing to take a lot of these issues and deal decisively in building a strong economy.
At the time we were going to the IMF in 2022, Ghana's reserve could only support 0.8 months less than 2 weeks of import cover. And yet somebody said he started gold purchase program.
Mr. Speaker, this has to go down as one of the most forward-looking economic policies envisaged by any government. Because we do know that the Ghanaian economy for many decades prior to last year had been undermined significantly by challenges.
Our sincerest apologies for that poor video quality. We'll definitely rework the story, bring that back to you in our subsequent bulletins. But moving on, the Inkaria Divisional Police have arrested a gang of 4 posing as national security operatives to conduct illegal anti-galamsey operations. They say that they extorted sums of money from various mining sites in the Etriman-Wabieja South municipality of the Ashanti region. 3 members of the gang have been identified as national security operatives using a private pump-action gun. A pickup vehicle they used had been identified as the official vehicle of the NDC chairman for the Etriman-Kwangoma constituency, Simon Alolga. Erastus Saridonko has more.
The Inkaria Divisional Police Day Patrol team arrested the 4 after a series of complaints. 2 of them, Samuel Inso, 35, and Nana Akom Owusu, 42, have been identified as national security operatives in the Etriman-Kwangoma district. A 3rd person, Stephen Ajiman, is said to be a national security operative from the castle, Accra, whilst the 4th person, Mark Donas Toku, 40, is a driver to the NDC chairman for Etriman-Kwangoma. They were arrested after raiding an illegal mining site in Etriman-Wabieja South, where a Chinese miner they arrested landed in a pit and sustained injuries. The Inkaria police arrested them after complaints from the people. Police retrieved a set of green khaki uniforms used by the gang, 1 pump-action gun and 16 cartridges, and a white pickup vehicle with registration number JW8394-24, later confirmed to be the official vehicle of the NDC chairman for Etriman-Kwangoma, Simon Alolga. The suspects were handed over to the National Security Liaison Office and have since been forwarded to the regional police for further investigations. Reporting for JoyNews, Erastus Asaridonko, Kumasi.
Now, environmental degradation in the Western region is being described as a growing threat, with sustainability now framed as a survival issue, not just a policy debate. At a high-level environmental forum organized by Takrady Technical University, traditional leaders, academia and regulators called for urgent collective action to curb illegal mining, deforestation and environmental neglect before the long-term consequences become irreversible.
The opening address, the Vice Chancellor of the Takrady Technical University, Reverend Professor John Frank Ishen, stressed that environmental sustainability must move beyond discussion to practical implementation.
Environmental sustainability is a real and a practical duty that should guide our personal decisions and national development policies. These discussions deepened our understanding of how policy, regulation, research, and practice must work together to protect our environment.
Addressing an academia perspective, the Dean of the Faculty of Built and Natural Environment at TTU, Engineer Professor Gladys Amakote, said academia cannot remain passive while environmental challenges worsen.
As a faculty whose mandate intersects the built environment, natural resources, planning, design, engineering, and sustainability, we cannot remain passive observers. We are uniquely positioned and indeed obligated to lead conversations and actions that shape a cleaner, greener future. So this forum really is important.
The forum also draws strong traditional leadership voices. The president of the Western Regional House of Chief, Nana Kobna Nketia, delivered a philosophical reflection on humanity relationship with nature.
There's such a deep sense, and part of it is to do with the environment. It is talking about the oneness of being. I am the tree over there, and that tree is me. I am you, and you are me. What the South Africans try to say, in some other words, like Ubuntu. If you touch the tree, you are touching me. It's so beautiful. Papo bono oyamara. Amiya wawiyami. Nina yekuru. But we're not studying it.
From a regulatory standpoint, the regional manager of the Forestry Commission, Nana Poku Bosompim, highlighted key drivers of environmental degradation in the region.
When it comes to illegal mining, we are doing our best, but I think there's still more to be done. Illegal chain swarming and lumbering, I can say we have it under a measure of control. One of the principal drivers here also has to do with deforestation, that is agriculture expansion into forested areas. And the larger has to do with major cocoa enclaves within the Western region.
Participants agree that environmental protection requires evidence-based policies, stronger enforcement, community involvement, and sustained education.
From environment, let's move to the railway sector. The Western Railway line could generate up to $400 million annually in freight revenue, a potential game changer for Ghana's railway sector. The Ghana Railway Development Authority says the industry's sustainability depends on cargo, not passenger services. CEO Dr. Frederick Apo shared this during a visit to the Western region, where the regional minister Joseph Nelson stressed the line's importance to economic growth. Correspondent Natalia Kwanza reports.
Rick Apo says globally passenger rail service are heavily subsidized and rarely profitable.
Passenger service anywhere in the world virtually doesn't make profit. People refer to China. China subsidy is $47 billion a year. United Kingdom, you are looking at about £15 billion a year. The government of Kenya subsidized the passenger service $83 million per annum. Last year, we commenced the operation of the passenger service. I will tell you now, the government of Ghana is subsidizing that service 2.3 million cedis every month to keep that train working.
With passenger service draining public funds, the authority is shifting focus to freight, beginning with cargo operation on the Tema and Pakadan corridor by the second quarter of this year. But the real commercial potential lies in the Western Railway lines.
Railway services will become sustainable only through freight operations. So yes, we are as an authority, we are going to introduce the freight operation on the Tema to Pakadan. The Western Railway line, in terms of output, we are looking at a minimum 40 million metric tons per annum. Even if we are looking at $10 per ton, you are looking at $400 million. So what I will say to all your viewers and the listeners is that the Western Railway line provides what I call the most profitable in terms of railway operations in the country, and having the development up to Nyinanyini can, in terms of the output, can develop the entire 3,200 kilometers of railway network that we have in the country.
Beyond revenue, regional authorities say reviving freight services could ease pressure on major roads burdened by heavy mineral haulage.
Critical one, which is the haulage of heavy load, I will call it, either bauxite or manganese, on that stretch, the Takoradi stretch, is most disturbing.
Well, it's time for some business news. The Hunter Pele Samuel Kojobraze will bring us that right after this breather.
Let's do business updates now and to our first story. Finance Minister Dr. Kaysela Tufosun has announced plans for the Ghana Gold Board to buy up to 127 tons of gold annually from artisanal and small-scale miners as part of a new national policy aimed at strengthening Ghana's external reserves. Speaking in Parliament while unveiling what he described as the country's first comprehensive reserves building policy, Dr. Fosun said the initiative is designed to safeguard the economy and ensure stable participation in the gold market.
Mr. Speaker, to secure the target after netting out debt service, FX operations, energy sector payment, and statutory outflows, the strategy requires an average of 9.5 billion United States dollars annual additions to the country's gross international reserves. Mr. Speaker, to achieve this, the reserve accumulation target, the GANRAP has set an operational weekly gold purchase target of about 3 tons per week. At 3 tons per week and a price of $5,000 per ounce, gross receipts are projected at approximately 25.28 billion United States dollars annually. Mr. Speaker, Ghana's strategy for the acquisition of 3 tons of gold per week is in two folds. The first is the Ghana Gold Board to acquire up to 2.4 tons of gold per week from artisanal small-scale mining sector. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Finance will be making budgetary allocation to the Ghana Gold Board to achieve the objectives. The second, Mr. Speaker, the Ministry for Land and Natural Resources is to invoke the preemption right under Section 3D of the Ghana Gold Board Act 2025 Act 1140 and Section 7 of the Minerals and Mining Act 703 to purchase a minimum of 0.5 tons of gold per week from large-scale gold mines.
Away from that, the World Bank's latest edition of the Women, Business and the Law report has revealed that women in sub-Saharan African region, including Ghana, have less than 2/3 of their economic rights enforced compared to men. The following report captures more.
The report said only about 1/3 of mechanisms are in place in sub-Saharan Africa to support the implementation of laws that support women's economic rights compared to men. Experts interviewed in the sub-Saharan African region perceived that women's economic rights are enforced at less than half of their full potential. The report revealed that since October 2023, only 15 out of 48 economies in the sub-Saharan African region enacted 33 reforms to provide women with greater access to economic opportunities. On the highlight for the region, the report said across the 10 topics, sub-Saharan Africa performed relatively well under mobility, with a regional average score of 69.5. 3 economies in the region scored 100. They were Ghana, Nigeria, and Rwanda, indicating that policies to support women's freedom of movement are in place in these countries.
Well, that's all in business. Update back to you, Denisia.
Thank you, Ahantapili Samuel Kujubrace. Well, before we go, have you completed WASI 2025? 1 or 2 subjects failed you? Never mind. Just enroll at St. Andrews Senior High School, the best private SHS in Ghana at the moment, with excellent boarding facilities. Excellent results in the 2025 WASI. We have locations in Asimfosu, Mankesin, New Edubiase, Dunkwa, Onofing, Shama, and Sehri Asarenso. We do all senior high school courses. You can call us now on 0244 696911 or 020 789 1004. Now, every day, someone in Ghana is diagnosed with leukemia and asked to travel abroad for treatment. This must stop. Join Build Ghana's first Center for Hematology and Clinical Genetics. Donate to the Leukemia Projects Foundation via Stanbic Bank account Silver Star Airport City. The CD account is 9040-0043-56815. The dollar account is 9040-0042 99889 or via EcoBank Silver Star Airport City account. The City account is 1441-0001-44545 and the dollar account is 3441-0001-44544. You can also donate via MTN Momo 054-501-3437, Telecel Cash via 020-069-5209. This initiative is by the JoyNews Impact Makers Foundation in partnership with the Leukemia Project Foundation. And that's it for AM News. My name is Denisia Pomaide. For more news, I know a place, always myjoyonline.com. Enjoy the rest of the show. Have a lovely day.